A recent report revealed that over 61 million fitness tracker users had their health data exposed publicly, when some fitness tracker users shared their data with third-party apps that didn't protect it very well. Ooh. You're probably sitting there looking at your fancy Apple Watch saying, well, that could never be me. Well, guess what, honey child? Both Apple Health and Fitbit data were leaked. Leaked. It's those sketchy third parties that partner with your Apple and your Fitbits that could open up a small hole in what's normally a very secure system. Internet cookies are one of the many ways that websites can help make your experience more personal. They do this by storing files locally on your computer and requesting them when you visit the website. Cookies are helpful for a plethora of reasons, like remembering which items you left in your shopping cart when you discovered Croots, or keeping you from having to re-enter your password every time you open up YouTube. Without cookies, aside from performance issues, the internet would feel more like the movie Groundhog Day. But without Bill Murray, every time you load up a website, it would be like you're there for the first time, and Bill Murray isn't there, which I think makes the whole experience much worse. So cookies are meant to be good? That leads us to our next topic. What's wrong with just accepting all cookies? What's the worst that can happen? Oh, honey child. To properly answer that, let's talk about types of cookies. First-party cookies, those are the kind we just went over. Then there are third-party cookies, and this is where the cookie starts to crumble. Third-party cookies are... Actually, let me set the right mood. Third-party cookies function the same as first-party cookies, tracking your data between visits. But these cookies don't remind you to buy Croots. These cookies are used to track what you're looking at on websites, and they use that data to create targeted advertisements that follow you from site to site. They may not seem spooky without this eerie voice, but there is no limit to the number of third-party cookies a website can generate. The limit does not exist. Bad cookies will create a unique ID for you as you browse, and as you collect this endless supply of cookies, a profile of sorts is created about you and stored on a remote server. Since all these bad cookies are being stored in the same cookie jar, any information stored through third-party cookies can be attached to that unique ID, creating a goldmine of information to be sold and used to advertise to you. Now that we know what we're up against, our next question. Can I stop third-party cookies from tracking me, or have the cookies already won? Good question. Lucky for you, I've got this nifty-difty little tape that should give us a few tips. Roll the tape. Hello, I'm Cookie Smasherson, and welcome to How to Smash Cookies with Cookie Smasherson. You'll learn 3 basic defenses that anyone can use against third-party cookies. Deny, delete, and disguise. Yeah! You're browsing the internet using your high-speed data connection. Your page loads up, and you're accosted with pop-up after pop-up asking you to accept the cookie policy. Deny those cookies. You gotta delete those cookies. Get them out of here. Leave my data alone, you no good for nothing advertisers. But how can you defend yourself against the cookies of internet's future? Disguise. There are extensions that can help you contain third-party cookies and keep them from tracking you between clicks. With these 3 techniques, you can browse the internet safely, knowing your PC and identity are a little safer than what they were yesterday. I'm Cookie Smasherson. Deny, delete, and disguise. Anyway, while those 3 methods are some of the easier ways you can prevent cookies from tracking you, there are other ways you can keep yourself protected, like using private browsing windows or using a browser that has moved away from traditional cookies altogether. Maybe you heard Google is planning on phasing out cookies from Chrome. That's fantastic, but if you want cookie defense now, Firefox is a browser that already does that. You go, Firefox. One of the most dangerous temptations of online shopping are the ads we see on social media. They often catch us at the perfect moment, when you're taking a dookie and you don't know the exact amount in your checking account. It's totally fine to browse through Instagram or TikTok, but make sure you're not buying directly through those apps. If you do, you might be opening up your data, like your credit card and your address, to a service that may be insecure. Great show, terrible for your data. Play it safe and copy those links into a secure browser before making it rain. If you're still unsure about a deal before you buy, phone a friend. It never hurts to get a second opinion. After all, they might notice something you don't. Whether you're at school or a library, there's a terms of service you'll have to agree to. That TOS has tons of fine print that usually boils down to, we're watching everything you do. But hey, if you need to get on Wi-Fi, you need to get on. So let's say you agree and you get connected. Well, guess what? Your device has an identifier called an IP address, which is unique to each device. And when you connect online, it's brought into a virtual public space where a bunch of other people are just chilling. Make sure the websites you're visiting are secure, so those packets are encrypted and harder for others to get a hold of. One easy way to check? Just look at the URL. It should start with HTTPS, not just HTTP. If it doesn't, it's not secure. And those packets are at risk by a bunch of nosy neighbors that could have at them. That's what's known as packet sniffing. To avoid this, we recommend using a VPN, or virtual private network. This software masks your IP. It basically means you're hidden from potential hackers, government spies, corporations trying to get your data. We've also got our own VPN, which we think is pretty awesome, and there's a free trial. But feel free to comparison shop and watch out for anything that sounds too good to be true. If it's a free service, chances are they're doing some data collecting of their own. Ooh, which kind of defeats the purpose of a VPN. How is Instagram getting my information? Do they read my text? Algorithms in social media and video streaming can definitely give off some creepy vibes, recommending you content that can be eerily personal or outright strange. However, it's important to know that most of these algorithms can really only use what they've been fed. In fact, some algorithms, like YouTube's for instance, create a suggestion profile for you based on just 3 factors: voluntary data, observed data, and inferred data. Voluntary data is data that you would offer up to these services on your own volition. An example of this would be subscribing to your favorite educational tech YouTube channel, not to name any names, but by subscribing to a channel like ours, you're essentially saying to YouTube, I like the following content: technology, education, and dope hair. YouTube adds this information to your profile and uses it as a metric, sort of like digital biscuits that you'd feed to a dog that looks like the Terminator. Next, algorithms gather data through observing how you're interacting with content. Let's use Twitter as an example. You're scrolling through your feed when an ad for cheese-flavored toothpaste pops up, and the combination of fear and intrigue causes you to slow your scroll. Twitter has just taken note of the brief stop you made to look at this product, and you may start to see more of it in the near future. Using the data gathered voluntarily and through observation, the algorithm infers new data, making educated guesses based on what it already knows about you. This is where we may start to see some of that weirdness being injected into your timeline. However, your interactions matter, and if you're strategic, you can learn to tame the algorithm to your liking. Most algorithms used in social media and video streaming platforms are backed by some form of AI, which allows them to grow and change as more data is collected. Some people love the convenience that comes with this system, while others prefer a little more privacy. Having a little pupperino who brings me all sorts of internet goodies to try sounds great, right? Don't forget there's a Terminator living inside that dog. Do not store all your passwords in a text file or some note-taking app. If it can be accessed digitally, it's vulnerable to hackers. That said, there's absolutely no shame in your game if you want to write down your passwords in a physical notebook. I know, that sounds like something your grandma would do, but Granny might be onto something. For one thing, nobody can hack your notebook. You have to physically have it in your possession. So unless Tom Cruise is going all Mission Impossible on your place, you're probably good. Just keep it somewhere safe. A Post-it note under your keyboard does not count. So BetterHealth is just one of the most present-day service platforms that popped up over the past few years. Putting a therapist in your pants pocket, that particular pant pocket where your job position, your bank deposits, and your entire social life with your peers also sits. Oh please, what could possibly hypothetically go wrong? Why are there so many P's? A lot of apps out there use common privacy policies that don't necessarily cover the collection of sensitive data. And even when the privacy policy does mention the usage of your private health data, it doesn't always mean they're doing great things with it. Let's take a look at one real quick. We don't share any information about you. Sure, but let's look at the fine print. Except as described in our privacy policy. Just as I suspected. We do share your information with advertisers, subsidiaries, and parent companies. And there it is. But some privacy practices are more surprising. We allow Facebook to track metadata on messages to your therapist. They do what now? Is that real? Okay. So it says here, not the contents of your messages, But they can track how many messages you're sending and what time of day you're sending them. That means Facebook could know when you're talking to a BetterHelp counselor, which can be highly personal information in the right context. And by the way, it's none of their beeswax. While email's built-in spam filters are all right nowadays, they really do let a lot slip by. And you know you can't help it. Signing up for this website, dropping an email to get this coupon, even if you think you're being pretty cautious, you're bound to give up your info to someone who sold you out. Maybe it's not always that conniving. I'm sure you set up an account for something you definitely want or supposedly need, but even they will send you some annoying weekly emails. Golly, leave me alone. So that's where an email mask like Firefox Relay really comes in handy. You should use it pretty much anytime you need to sign up for something. What it does is it sets up fake email addresses that automatically forward your real email address, and then you turn it off when you're done. It's more than just unsubscribing from emails, which, by the way, doesn't stop all emails from a sender, like transactional ones. It just shuts off the account, so you won't receive anything at all from the sender anymore. Whew. So, when to use it? Shop somewhere frequently and want to save those coupons? Relay. Too many email notifications from your oh-so-popular 25-follower social media account? Relay! That literal one-time account you need to get access to something you never want to see again? You've been relayed! Get out of my face, spam man! I work for a company that rhymes with Bamazon. Should I be worried when talking about my boss near my Bamazon smart devices? Before diving into this, we need to make sure we're not being monitored. Alexa! Self-destruct! Whew, great. Now we should be safe. So, voice-activated smart devices are always listening, but they're not listening for your juicy secrets. They only respond to their wake words, Alexa, OK Google, Hey Siri, or at least they're supposed to. A recent study found that most smart speakers will wake up about once per hour on a false positive. These false positives are often triggered by words similar to their wake words or by dialogue in TV shows. That's happened to me before.
Huh? What? Who said Chenae?
This may sound scary, but the data being collected during these false positives helps the device discern what's a real command and what's a fake one. When a command is determined to be a false positive, the microphone shuts off within seconds. Not that it's any less scary that they are slowly learning when they are not being summoned. So then, what's happening when they're just chilling? Are they thinking? That said, the practices of these companies don't always keep your privacy in mind. If you're concerned about potential risks, a good way to avoid randomly triggering your smart assistant is to mute the microphone when you're not using it. Sure, it turns into a paperweight until unmuted, but it means you can dish on your boss knowing they'll be none the wiser. You should also look for any products that keep your data stored locally rather than in the cloud. Local storage is always safer, as it can't be accessed from outside your home. And it's nice to know that you can always take a hammer to your toaster if you think it hurt your secrets. Once your information is entered into an app with a less than ideal privacy policy, it's out there, and Control-Z ain't gonna do nothing for you now. If you haven't been watching the news lately, things have gotten pretty heated since they overturned Roe vs. Wade. For the boys out there, some women use period tracking apps to track their cycles, help with family planning, and catch health issues before they get out of hand. But what we didn't know was that most of these tracker apps, especially the free ones, have privacy policies that don't protect us from the government requesting that data to harass or even arrest us in states where abortion is now illegal. Heck, some of these period trackers don't even have a privacy policy. You might as well just shout out your tampon size from the roof and save them the work. I have a medium flow! How do we keep the data boogeyman from using our precious information against us? Well, if you're a lawyer, I'd suggest reading the privacy policy. They're long, confusing, and designed to trick you. Aha! For the rest of us, just don't give away any data you don't have to. If your blood type is optional in the app, leave it blank. Oh, and if any app has an anonymous or guest mode, just use that. Most of the time, you still get all the features you would before, just without the soul-sucking and information spreading. If your app of choice is popular enough, you can even check out Privacy Not Included Buyer's Guide for shorter breakdowns on whether you should trust an app or smart device.